Hey guys, the official Destiny website just received a massive overhaul with tons of new information, gameplay, images and much more. In this video I'm going to be breaking it all down. Now this video will be divided up into two parts. In the first portion of this video I'll be going over all the new text and information, and in the second portion of this video I'll be analysing all the new gameplay that was revealed. Now some of this information is just copied and pasted from before, and some parts are just reworded. So if you've heard all this before, I'll put an annotation so that you can skip ahead. Let's begin with the story. Our Golden Age. Everything changed with the arrival of the Traveller. Long ago it breathed new life into our system. Rain washed over Mars. Fresh air cleansed the skies over Venus. Soon after, humanity raced into the black and colonised these newly remade worlds. It was a time of miracles, a great Golden Age. Hope in the darkness. It did not last. The Traveller had an ancient enemy, a powerful darkness that found us here on Earth and nearly destroyed us. No one knows exactly what happened in those final moments, but we know this: we survived, and we owe our lives to the Traveller. We rise again. In our darkest days, humans, Exos and Awoken found the Traveller where it made its last stand, low above the Earth, silent and immobile. We built the city, our last, within its protective veil, fighting countless wars to keep its peace. From that dark age, Guardians were born. The new frontier. Now, a new era has begun, and the only hope for our future lies in unlocking the greatest mysteries of our past. You are a Guardian of the last safe city on Earth, able to wield some of the Traveller's incredible power. You are taking this mantle just as a new day dawns. Titans, Hunters and Warlocks have finally returned to our long-lost worlds, only to find that we are not alone. Defend the city on Earth. Defeat our enemies, explore the ancient ruins of our solar system, discover all that we have lost, become legend. This next part is where things really begin to get exciting as we get some new badass images and gameplay of the three classes. Firstly, the Titan. The first Titans built the wall and bravely gave their lives to defend it. Now you stand in the same place, steadfast and sure. Our enemies are deadly and merciless, but so are you. You hail from a land of legendary heroes, and your strength and skill will be needed to shatter their ranks. Next, the Warlock. Warlocks have long studied the Traveller, mastering some of its arcane energies. Its true purpose still remains a great mystery, but discovering truth has always driven you into the unknown. Now our enemies stand between you and your greatest discovery, the secrets of the Golden Age. And finally, the Hunter. Hunters once prowled the wilderness and wastelands, taking big risks for even bigger rewards. Making your own luck has always meant bending the rules, but you are no outlaw, at least not anymore, and your unique brand of daring and ingenuity will be needed now more than ever. Now moving on, we'll learn a bit about the Earth, Moon, Venus and Mars, as well as get some gorgeous new screenshots. Earth. Our home. After the darkness swept over us, we found the Traveller where it made its last stand. Beneath, we built the city, our last, within its protective aura. From here, Guardians stand watch, defend our civilization, and strike out into the wild frontier of Earth and beyond to reclaim our lost worlds. The Moon. Like Earth, the ruins of humanity's former glory can be found scattered across the familiar lunar surface. Recent exploration attempts have been repulsed, reporting increased enemy activity and even strange tectonic phenomenon. The city has since classified the Moon as a forbidden zone, only open to our most brave and experienced Guardians. Venus. Venus was once the site of great discovery, a paradise. Now it's a monument to all that we have lost. The old stories say we built an academy dedicated to learning and research on the shore of a wondrous sea, and that the waters themselves boiled up and rose to shatter the coast, washing away all that we had built. Mars. What little we know of Mars may as well be a myth. We built a massive metropolis in the red dust. The darkness swept nearly all of it away. The sand itself claimed the rest. No one knows what remains of our lost age, now buried beneath the dunes. Now just because Bungie only mentioned these 4 locations, doesn't mean that these will be the only ones we can visit. I think that these are just the 4 locations that Bungie are ready to give us information about. That, or these are just considered to be the 4 main locations. And finally, we have our enemies, the Fallen, Hive, Vex and Cabal. Also at the bottom of each page is the official logo for each race. Fallen are hardy creatures who can survive in a wide range of environments without heavy armour or complex modifications to their physiology. They travel light, hit hard, and are gone before you know it. Fallen may look like mere scavengers, but on closer inspection, you'll see hints of a splendid, sophisticated past, and the proud markings of their ancestral houses. Next, the Hive. Hive manipulate the physical world in ways that we can only begin to imagine. The Hive have carved a kingdom deep into the lifeless core of the moon, and it is there they remain, silent and buried among the dark and terrible secrets, a reminder of the tremendous power that brought forth the collapse. Next, the Vex. Scattered reports indicate that the Vex appear to be mass-produced machine units, constructed of an unknown metal alloy resembling hammered brass. All attempts to communicate with them have failed. They are hostile. They are unrelenting. They are deadly. On this screen we get our first proper look at another class of Vex called the Vex Hobgoblin. These menacing guys are defined by their horn-like split heads and their tails. This one on screen is holding what I guess is some kind of fusion rifle or railgun. Lastly, we have the Cabal. In the immediate foreground of this page, we get a good look at the Cabal Centurion, which is another class of the Cabal that use jump jets and are more mobile than the other Cabal classes. Also, in the background of this image is our first look at another never before seen class of Cabal. This class is known as the Cabal Scion, and these guys are smaller than the other Cabal, but harness the power of their mind to confront their enemies, and they pilot the Cabal vehicles. When they die, they ooze a black oily liquid. The bio on this page reads, "Few Guardians have faced Cabal and lived to tell their tale. They are a professional military operation. On every front we have found them on the march. They have already dug in and ringed their installation with razor wire. Now it seems they have turned their eyes towards us." Now on to the next portion of this video where I'll be analysing the new gameplay frame by frame. Some of it is reused footage, but there is some new footage spliced in. The videos also show some new badass armour and the ways in which we'll be able to customise our characters, starting with the Titan. First we have a fireteam traversing Mars on their personal vehicles, the Shrike, and then our first bit of new gameplay of a player sprinting on Mars with a heavy machine gun. Then an up close shot of this badass Titan. Here's the same Titan from a different angle, but this time we can see that the Titan is actually checking out some kind of spacecraft. Now what I want to know is, will we be able to make this our personal spacecraft, or is this possibly one way of upgrading our spacecraft by salvaging parts from others? I'm also curious as to whether this is part of an in-game cinematic, or if it's another gesture. The way the camera is angled makes it seem like a cinematic, but that could just be for the sake of the trailer. In this next shot, the Titan kills a Hive thrall, and has this orange floating orb flying past them. My first thought was that this could be some kind of homing grenade, but after watching the video a few more times, I began to wonder, perhaps this could be another function of our Ghost, like an attack mode, although the shape doesn't really seem to match, and it's flying lower than usual. This next scene is pretty interesting. First thing to point out, a while back in the Bungie podcast, a Titan's shoulder barge ability was revealed, and at first sight, I thought this Titan was shoulder barging this Vex. However, upon closer inspection, you'll see that the Titan actually needs the Vex. So, is this a separate ability? And how do we know that the shoulder barge is an ability? Bungie never actually mentioned if it was an ability or not. So is it possible that this is the Titan's form of a melee attack? It seems like each class will have their own unique melee attack. For example, the Hunter has the Hunter Knife. And in the Bungie Weekly Update, test leader Jason Pate hinted at a Warlock-specific melee attack. Another idea I had was that this could be the result of pressing multiple buttons at once. For example, pressing the jump button whilst activating your shoulder barge ability. I'm also a little bit confused about the background in this scene. Is this location set on Venus or Mars? The Vex are mainly located on Venus, but as we learnt from the 14-page Game Informer article, the Cabal and Vex are at war on Mars. Outside the window we can see buildings falling apart, but both Venus and Mars have run down and destroyed cities, so that doesn't really help. Now each planet is defined by colour palette. Venus is mostly greens and yellows, whilst Mars is mostly reds and oranges. The colours in this background matches the colour palette of Mars, so this could be set on Mars. Anyway, moving on, we see more reused gameplay from E3, but then we have this shot. Here we see the Titan using the same ability from the second Destiny Vidoc. Now it has been confirmed to be a shield ability. If you look closely, the shield blocks incoming shots. Now in the background, this ghost does something rather odd. It releases some kind of beam. What this beam is, we don't know. Could it be some kind of attack? Or maybe this is just how the ghost interacts with a weld. And finally, the Titan using their shoulder barge ability against a Vex Hobgoblin. Now let's move on to the Hunter trailer. Immediately I noticed this object as the Hunter rides off on their pike. Now it's kind of an odd shape, and it's quite difficult to tell what it really is. Now judging from the twin barrels, and what appears to be a platform to stand on, as well as what looks like an ammo drum, I would guess that this is some kind of turret. It also has a blue outline defining this object, which makes me think that we can interact with it. Could this be some sort of guardian vehicle? Here we get a head-on view of these two players riding fallen pikes. Now notice how they're on Mars, but are surrounded by Vex architecture. You can tell that it's made by the Vex because of the odd blockiness that it has. Thanks to the 14-page Game Informer article, we know that the Vex and Cabal are occupying Mars and are competing for territories. Next we have a Hunter running towards the camera, and in the background a solar flare grenade explodes. Now here, if you look closely, we can see that this Hunter is wearing a bandana, as well as a hooded cloak. Now look at the boots. This player has a knife strapped to their boot. So does this mean that we'll have a choice on where we can put our knife, and not just on our belt? Also notice how there's another strap on their right foot. Then they use their throwing knife ability on this fallen Dreg, but something's off about this Dreg. Notice how this one has a red helmet, whereas in the past gameplay and screenshots they didn't. So is this a reskin, or perhaps a different faction of Fallen? Also at the top of these stairs is a loot drop for a weapon. Here we get our first in-game view of a player firing a fusion rifle to blast away the Hive. These Hive then get blasted away by this explosion, which I assume was caused by a grenade. Then this Hunter uses their teleport ability. In the background there is a Vex warp gate, the same one we saw last year from the first Destiny Vidoc. And next to this block is some kind of loot crate. Moving on to the final scene of the Hunter trailer, we get our first gameplay of the Cabal Scion. If you look closely, you can even see that the Cabal are attacking the Vex. This is our first example of the Vex actually fighting the Cabal for control over Mars. If we slow it down right at the very end here, this Hunter activates their knife ability, which the name still remains unknown, and proceeds to do a spin attack, wiping out all these enemies. Again, could this be the result of pressing multiple buttons at once? So that is it for the Hunter trailer. Now here's the Warlock trailer. More reused footage. Now, is that what I think it is? At first I thought that this was just a building, but then I noticed that it has what looks like treads, like a vehicle. Could this be a Cabal vehicle? That would be absolutely mental if it is. To be fair, look at how big the Cabal are, so just imagine how big their vehicles would have to be. It reminds me of this old concept art from GDC 2013. It appears the sound caused by the Nova Bomb ability has been updated since the last time we heard it. Now it creates a shell shock effect upon impact. Next, a rather interesting shot of the Warlock appearing out of nowhere on Venus. Now judging from the look of this trail behind them, this Warlock just used the teleport ability that we saw the Hunter use earlier. They're also wielding a new gun. On the side of this gun is some kind of symbol. Is this the symbol of the manufacturer of the weapon, or a random design? There's also some kind of symbol on the other weapon on this player's back. Another interesting shot here. This Hive Knight is surrounded by some red aura. What could this indicate? Maybe a damage boost? Plus a slightly blurred but up close shot of the Hive Knight's massive weapon. This frame also provides us with examples of the possible upgrades we can get for our weapons. As you can see, this is the Viper P3, the same weapon from the E3 gameplay. Then the Warlock just incinerates this knight. To top it all off, the trailer reveals that the Nova Bomb can be split into 3 separate projectiles. At least, I think this is the Nova Bomb. It could be a completely separate ability. Also, is that a visor on the Warlock's helmet? Now I'm just going to quickly go over this one other clip. This clip is of a fight in battling a fallen Devil Walker. Now the first thing I noticed are these bouncing electrical explosives that were ejected out of the hatch on the side of this Devil Walker. The Devil Walker also releases some kind of electrical pulse from itself. Speaking of electricity, this clip gives us our first glimpse at a new grenade. On the podcast, Bungie teased us by talking about a grenade called the Arc Prox, which was said to be an electrical proximity grenade, and I'm guessing that it is this grenade in front of the Devil Walker. Last thing I noticed in this gameplay, this Warlock used the teleportability to gain a height advantage. I would absolutely love to see this thing being used in PvP. So that's all the new gameplay and info. Please like and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at DestinyOverwatch. There you can keep up to date with what I'm doing and when I'm about to post a new video. So thank you so much for watching this video. Before I go, I'll leave you with this one final clip that I actually found hidden within the files from Destiny's official website, and I don't believe this clip can be found anywhere on any of the public pages. If I do find any more hidden clips, I'll let you know. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.